Thanks for your company. There's an outbreak of a strange disease destroying shea trees in the northern, upper east and upper west regions. Affected trees wither suddenly and die. Shea trees are a source of livelihood for many households and families in those parts of the country. Correspondent Martina Bugri has more.
The communities affected include Malwe, Jindabuo, Kanwe, Nankpala, among others in the Sola and Bole districts of the northern region. Some other communities in the Sisala east of the upper west region and Avrongo in the upper east region have also recorded what industry players refer to as strange attack on the shea tree. A farmer at Malwe, Abu Dulusina, said the destruction is affecting economic activities in the area.
The shea tree is helping our women in such a way that they take care of their children to go to school. Now the shea tree is no more doing. Because of that, it is affect our children not to get their school fees to go to school, to come and help us. So as at now, we don't know the reason why the thing is dying.
A shea picker, Dunu Zinazi, appealed to government to consider adding their community to the Planting for Food and Jobs program.
They're saying that if they come to help with the seedlings or the seeds, that the government should help them through the planting of food for jobs, so that it will help them in the near future.
Programs coordinator of the Jack Sally Village Savings and Loan Scheme, Jeremiah Sedu, said more than 300 trees have been destroyed in just one village. He said its repercussion is high. He appealed to government to intervene.
It is a worry for us that this is an income generating for not just the women, but for everybody here. If you don't eat shea fruits, you eat shea butter. If you don't eat shea butter, you get the money from your wife. If you don't get the money, she'll pay school fees with it. If she doesn't pay school fees with it, she'll sell and buy something. A livelihood for almost everybody in this area. So for us as development people, if we come to the community to monitor VSLAs and we see that what the VSLAs are depending on is being taken away, it becomes a worry for us. So for us, we are calling on all agencies. First, we are calling on the district assemblies. We are calling on the Minister of Agric. We are calling on government that something needs to be done. They should find out and see. If it was on the farm, we'll say because of the continuous tillage, the continuous plowing. But what of those ones in the forest? It is an income, it is a livelihood. People depend on it. Ghanaians depend on it. They pay tax through this. So I think that this should be a worry for the nation.
A senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies, who's done a lot of research on the shea, Dr. Joshua Adams-Yidana, said the sudden death of these trees could be a combination of factors, including disease.
The immediate sudden death, like is happening, is most likely to come from diseases. There are so many, some diseases that affect the tree. But I suspect mostly as trees age, stem borers become very, the infestation becomes very high. So I think it might be a combination of stem borers, other diseases, and drought.
So Martina Bugri put that report together, but SNV Netherlands Development Organization is a non-profit international organization working in agriculture, energy and water, sanitation and hygiene. They've been in Ghana since 1992, working with people in the shea industry. Eric Banye is country sector leader and he joins us via phone. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, who are those feeling the effects of this the most?
Yes, hello. Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. Basically, the people who are affected more are these rural women who are predominantly depending on these shea trees for survival. In northern Ghana, almost 2/3 of the rural women depend on the shea tree for survival, right from areas of the northern region, upper east, upper west. So this problem that is coming up, the immediate effect is actually on the rural women who are depending on this shea tree. And the second one, of course, is the country as a whole, because Ghana also drives some form of income from it through the export of shea nut and shea butter as well.
Now, from your works, which areas or communities have been affected or worse hit?
Okay, thank you. This issue is quite strange also to us as a development organization. We have been working in the shea sector since 1995, but unfortunately, we are beginning to observe it in the western corridors of northern region, which is basically around the Bole, Sola, Tuna, Jindabuo area, and also parts of Upper East region, coming between Upper East, Upper West region as well. We see this disease also happening. Well, I use disease in quotes because we still don't know what exactly is the problem. But what we see is seeing a mature tree drying up, both young trees and as well as old trees. So it becomes very difficult for us to say whether it is an age factor or it is because of water. In the areas that is happening, even along the Black Volta, we have noticed that some of the trees are equally drying up. Areas that are being cultivated in farmland, they are drying up. Areas that are not also cultivated are also drying up. So the environment in which we are finding these places vary, and that becomes difficult for us to make a case what is actually the problem without actually doing any scientific research, which we haven't done, but using observations. These mature trees where women were really collecting the nuts are all drying up for the past 1.5 years, and that's what we have noticed.
For the past 1.5 years, and
Yes.
and so, how are you seeking to bring the problem or a solution to this problem, since you work directly with some of the people in the shea industry?
Okay, most of the community are actually making loud cry to us that, look, they are depending heavily on this, but their livelihood is coming to a standstill. So basically for us, we actually need the research institutions to be able to carry out research work, evidence-based research that we can use to then engage the implementers in terms of what can actually be done. And the good thing is that at least we have identified that there is a problem. Now, the cause of the problem is what we do not know. Some of the communities are blaming cattle rearers as the problem. Others are saying the soils are hardening up. Others claim because water is not available again. Others were trying to use traditional maize. But these are also hearsay. As we say, we know we know the issue. We now want to see how do we work with the CRIF, for example, the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, who are virtually responsible for research work in the shea sector, to carry out evidence-based knowledge that we can use to intervene. Or else, now we are all trying to see what can we do to solve the problem. But that is not the best way to go. I think that government needs to adequately resource the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana to take full responsibility in carrying out research to understand why is this happening to the sector. Or else, if we allow it to continue, we are putting the lives of several millions of households in northern Ghana at stake.
Mr. Banya, your organization has been in Ghana since '92. Have we seen something like this or something close to it in the past?
As I mentioned to you, this is quite new also to us. We know rural women cutting down the shea tree for charcoal or firewood, but we do not know about it drying up without anybody causing doing anything to the shea tree. In the past, you could find women going to cut the bark of the shea tree and allow it to dry, then they can go and cut it for firewood. But in this case, nothing happens to a tree. Nobody is doing it. Well, then put nobody in quotes because we have not seen anybody doing that. But they are drying up. And for me, if it was also being injected by some recalcitrant people to kill the shea tree, but the rate at which it's happening is alarming. And now we are a bit shocked to see the number of trees. If you walk for every 10 trees you count, you may get about 6 or 7 of them drying up. And that is quite strange to us also.
So then the issue of climate change comes to play, doesn't it?
Yes. So that brings us back to the larger picture, beyond the immediate people who are going to be affected by this drying up. The second part is climate-related things. We are already in the savanna region where we are getting closer and closer to the desert. Most trees are drying up, trees are not growing, we are not planting. Yet the existing ones we have, we can't also protect it. We are allowing it to dry. Of course, then the issue of climate change will catch up with us, and that can affect agricultural production, that will affect the climatic environment, that will affect our incomes that we are deriving from agriculture as well. So in the long run, everybody, irrespective of where you are, will be affected. And of course, Ghana is actually the bigger loser if we don't pay much attention to it. So we've also contacted our other offices in Burkina, Mali, Niger, Benin to see whether they are observing this kind of things also around the Shea belt. Or else, if it's just a Ghana alone, we need to take drastic measures to solve the problem now.
Finally, it's been a year and a half since you observed this, and I want to believe that authorities are aware. Have we been proactive in dealing with this?
I think all the actors, including all of us, we are undermining the severity of the problem. And that's why we are not really putting in a lot of effort. But for me, what we need to do, whether you are an NGO or a government or a bigger player like the private sector people who are exporting butter, we need to address this issue collectively. But of course, the people with the knowledge in the research will have to take the lead. For example, government needs to resource Cocoa Research Institute very well because they have the expertise in terms of human expertise. What they may be lacking is the financial role to be able to carry out some of these researches so that we will know, is it a disease or is it a human cause or is it a natural death that these trees are going through. So when we know the causes, then together we can address the problem. For me, we require a collective action with Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana to be in the lead. Or else, we can't all be doing bits and pieces everywhere, and we will not solve this problem. And for me, the environmental effect is the biggest problem that we cannot allow to happen.
Thanks for your time this morning, Eric Banyes, country sector leader of SNV Netherlands. They've been working closely with actors in the shea industry since 1992.